We are following breaking news now on CBSN New York and CBS 2 News and CBSNewYork.com. The New Jersey Attorney General, Kabir Grewal, is holding a press conference with state and federal law enforcement leaders about yesterday's deadly shootout in Jersey City. Let's listen into this now.
By the U.S. Attorney Craig Carpenito and their teams are leading this investigation. In addition to, I want to acknowledge our Director of Homeland Security, Jared Maples, Hudson County Prosecutor, Esther Suarez, who sadly buried her dad this morning. So, Esther, God bless you. Jersey City Police Chief Mike Kelly, who's done an extraordinary job. County Executive Tom DeGise, other elected officials. I think I've got most everybody here. I believe I got everybody. So thank you all. And all official announcements pertaining to this investigation will be made through their offices. Additionally, our administration is partnering on the ground both here and with communities across the state to provide whatever assistance is needed to ensure that residents are safe. And let me repeat something else that I said last evening. Based on everything, and I say this on behalf of all of us, the collection of state and federal and local representatives, based on everything we know, there is no ongoing security concern related to the events of yesterday. The Department of Education, under Commissioner Dr. Lamont Repillette, is working directly with the Jersey City Public Schools to ensure that the appropriate crisis services are available and accessible to all students, educators, and support staff who may need them. The department also stands ready to assist with any issues of school safety. The school district is also working cooperatively with charter and non-public schools in the community to ensure their students and staff also have resources available to them. Commissioner Repillette's office has also contacted neighboring districts who have availed their services to Jersey City as needed. The Office of Homeland Security and Preparedness is working directly alongside our Jewish communities and other communities of faith across the state to ensure that every New Jerseyan can feel safe and secure. Director Jared Maples and the Attorney General Kabir Grewal attended, in fact, this morning's meeting of the Interfaith Advisory Council to directly address concerns and highlight resources available to our communities of faith. Any community leaders with security concerns should visit www.njhomelandsecurity.gov. That's www.njhomelandsecurity.gov and click the Interfaith. That's the Interfaith tab on the top of the homepage for information on available resources. And of course, to all New Jerseyans, if you see something, say something and report any suspicious activity. Earlier today, I had the opportunity, along with Israeli Consul General Ambassador Danny Dayan, a dear friend, during his visit, to stand in solidarity with the Jewish community here. We prayed at the synagogue, literally that is right beside the store that was shot up and was the locus of so much of the action yesterday. One thing must be made perfectly clear. An attack on our Jewish community, or for that matter, on any community in what is, by many measures, the most diverse state in the United States of America, and whether that attack may be here in Jersey City or anywhere in our state, that attack is an attack against all 9 million of us who are proud to call ourselves New Jerseyans, period. This morning, we all awoke with hearts heavy for the victims and families impacted by what occurred here yesterday. For the family of Detective Joseph Seals, God rest his soul. For the innocent victims inside the market, God rest their souls. But we are also firm in our resolve to take the steps necessary to ensure that this doesn't happen again. Our administration has been here for Jersey City since day one. It was here yesterday, it's here today, and it will be here tomorrow. We stand unequivocally with this city. With that, please help me welcome the Attorney General of the state of New Jersey, Kabir Grewal.
Thank you, Governor. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you all for being here. As the Governor mentioned, we're joined by federal and state partners this afternoon. U.S. Attorney Craig Carpenito is here with us. Colonel Patrick Callahan, the Superintendent of the New Jersey State Police. FBI Special Agent in Charge Greg Erie. ATF Special Agent in Charge Charlie Patterson. Director Jared Maples of the New Jersey Office of Homeland Security and Preparedness, Hudson County Prosecutor Esther Suarez, and Jersey City Police Chief Michael Kelly. Yesterday, when two gunmen opened fire on civilians and police officers, we saw the very worst of humanity. But in the response, as law enforcement worked to address the threat, and as the community came together to grieve and care for survivors, we also saw the very best. Yesterday could have been far deadlier, and the reason it was not is due to the heroism of the men and women of the Jersey City Police Department. And it's also due to the close partnership you see on display behind me between federal, state, county, local law enforcement in New Jersey. I'd especially like to recognize Chief Kelly, who oversaw the response yesterday. And I want to thank all those who supported him, including the FBI, the ATF, state police, many other local and county law enforcement agencies that rushed to the scene. As I stated last night, this is an active, ongoing criminal investigation. And as I indicated last night, our office is serving as a lead investigative agency alongside the U.S. Attorney's Office, the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office, the FBI, and other partners. As we speak, right now we are working to learn more about the shooter's motivations and whether anyone besides the two gunmen may have been involved. We recognize that many in the community are anxious to learn about what happened, to learn more about what happened. And we're committed to providing additional information as soon as we can confirm the accuracy of that information. At times like this, it's especially important that the press and the public stick to the facts as they're officially reported by our offices. During the early stages of an investigation, others may have incomplete or inaccurate information, which can not only create unnecessary panic in the community, but also undermine the integrity of an ongoing criminal investigation. So here's what we know now. It's believed that at some point yesterday, two individuals encountered and killed Jersey City Police Detective Joseph Seals in the Bayview Cemetery in Jersey City. The two suspects are David N. Anderson, age 47, date of birth October 20th, 1972, and Francine Graham, age 50, date of birth April 28, 1969. Both of them are deceased. Thereafter, at approximately 12:21 p.m., a white U-Haul van driven by Mr. Anderson parked directly across the street from the J.C. Kosher Supermarket, which is approximately 1 mile from the cemetery. Within seconds of arriving, Mr. Anderson exited the driver's side door of the U-Haul with a rifle in his hand. He walked towards the J.C. Kosher Supermarket and immediately began shooting. Miss Graham, the passenger in the van, followed Mr. Anderson into the store. From that point on until the conclusion of the event, the two suspects remained inside the store. Inside the supermarket, the suspects encountered 4 civilians. 3 of these civilians were killed, and 1 survived a gunshot wound. Those killed were Mindy Ferenz, M-I-N-D-Y, F-E-R-E-N-Z, age 32, date of birth December 23rd, 1987. Miguel Douglas, age 49, date of birth February 8th, 1970. Moshe Deutsch, D-E-U-T-S-H, age 24, date of birth July 7th, 1995. The survivor was able to escape the store at the beginning of the incident, and we are not providing his name at this time. At approximately 12:38 p.m., the Jersey City Police Department received a 911 call from an individual who discovered the body of Detective Seals. Minutes later, at approximately 12:43 p.m., Jersey City Police Department personnel arrived in the vicinity of the JC Kosher supermarket and engaged with the two suspects inside. A long, protracted shootout followed, and at approximately 3:25 p.m., a police armored vehicle broke through the entryway of the supermarket. And at approximately 3:47 p.m., the law enforcement incident ended when the officers discovered the bodies inside the supermarket. As soon as the shootout ended, law enforcement began processing the scene, including numerous items of evidentiary value. Among others, we've obtained digital and documentary evidence which we are currently reviewing for indications about the suspect's possible motives. We know that there is significant speculation about the shooter's motives. We're not in a position at this time to say definitively why the suspects decided to stop in front of the supermarket and begin firing immediately. We've recovered numerous firearms from the scene, and we're processing ballistics evidence. We also recovered a pipe bomb, and I'll let our FBI partner speak to that. That's all the information we are ready to provide at this point. We plan to provide you with additional updates tomorrow at noon from this same location. Let me address a few other points. First, we're in the process of identifying all available video footage from yesterday's incident, and we hope to release it to the public as soon as possible. Just last week, our office updated our rules regarding the release of such footage, and we intend to comply with those rules in this particular case. And as is standard practice, we will release the footage once we've completed the interviews of all available material witnesses and gathered physical and documentary evidence most relevant to this case. Second, as is the case in any investigation, we look to the public for further investigative leads. If you have information regarding yesterday's shooting, please call the New Jersey State Police at 609-963-6900. Third, members of the public, especially in Jersey City, should be vigilant about scams that try to take advantage of yesterday's tragedy. U.S. Attorney Carpenito will speak about that further. And we ask that you report this activity to the FBI. Finally, and on a more personal note, let me say that all of us in law enforcement stand with Jersey City, a city that's still reeling today. This is the city where I was born. This is a city where so many people from so many corners of the globe first step foot into this extraordinary country. This is a city where, in fact, a kosher supermarket stands proudly across the street from a Catholic school, down the block from a Dominican bodega, on a street named after Dr. Martin Luther King. It's a city of Chinese grocers and Indian shopkeepers and recent college graduates, all striving for a better life in the shadow of the Statue of Liberty. Jersey City is an American city, a city that reflects the values and the strength of our nation and of the state that we all proudly call home. Yesterday, that city came under attack. Not just the city, but the values that this city stands for. And we will respond as we have responded in the past. And we recognize that many in the community, by coming together, by working together, and by grieving together, and showing that we are stronger than the hate that fueled this terrible tragedy. And I can assure you that my office and the offices of everyone standing up here will do everything that they can to ensure the safety of the community and to defend the values that made this city a beacon for so many. With that, I want to turn it over to our partner in these efforts, the U.S. Attorney for the State of New Jersey, Craig Carpenito. Craig?
First, I want to start by sending my heartfelt condolences to the families of yesterday's victims. Yesterday, Detective Seals woke up in the morning to do what he's been doing for the past 17 years, going out on the street to protect Jersey City citizens, and he paid the ultimate price. The 3 civilian victims woke up in the morning going to their jobs to do what every American wants to do, to work, to provide for their families, and they lost their lives because of the acts of 2 cowards. I'm not going to reiterate and go through everything that Governor Murphy said or Attorney General Graywall said already, but what I can tell you is that we're working hand in glove, all of the partners behind us, and I stand by their statements. We agree with their statements, and I hope that you can be understanding of the fact that we have to be careful about providing incremental information about sensitive investigations, because sometimes incremental and incomplete information and speculation can lead to a very misleading narrative. And quite frankly, I think the families and loved ones of those who lost all 4 victims yesterday, the law enforcement victim and the civilians, deserve better than to hear iterative leaks throughout the press process of information that may or may not be accurate or misleading. So please be patient with us as we work through and we try to get a complete and accurate story before we decide to go public with the facts that we know. What I can tell you and assure you is that we're on it. We've been on it for the last 24 hours. We're sharing information cooperatively up here, and we're going to get to the bottom of it. And when we do, we're going to talk about it. But until then, we ask you to be patient with us. I'm going to turn it over to SAC Greg Geary of the FBI, who could give you a little more information with regards to the bomb. He was present that day. Before I do that, I also want to say one more thing. Apologize. I can't believe what I'm about to say. But on top of the tragedy of yesterday, we found out last night that a reprehensible group of people are online trying to profiteer off of the misfortune of others. And they're creating fake GoFundMe pages to try and solicit donations purportedly for the families of these victims to line their pockets. No words. I can't find the words of how disgusting this conduct is. What I can tell you is we're looking at it, we're investigating it, and if anyone has any information about any of these pages, or if you have donated money to any pages that were set up last night for any of the victims, you should contact the FBI, because my understanding is that as of last night, there were no official, legitimate GoFundMe sites or pages set up to solicit money for any of these victims. That's going to happen, I assure you, and contacting Jersey City PD is probably the best way to make sure that you're donating to a legitimate site. But if anyone has any information about that, please contact the FBI immediately. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Gregory Erie. I'm the special agent in charge of the FBI's Newark, New Jersey field office. First and foremost, to echo what you've heard before, our thoughts and prayers are with the families and the victims of this tragic, senseless event. I would be remiss if I did not point out our friend and colleague, Mike, who led a tremendous effort to end this threat, despite having lost an officer and stayed in charge of all operations. The FBI will continue to collaborate with our local, state, and federal partners as we try to find the motivation behind this event and make some sense of what, in some ways, is senseless. To echo again what I've heard from the Governor, the Attorney General, and the U.S. Attorney, I implore the press. I know there's always a rush during these incidents to say why. Speculation only distracts from the investigation. It takes all of our investigators offline to address that, and the media, as our partners in this, don't want to participate in those kind of acts. If you have a question or you need some factual information, these are the people who should be giving it to you. Again, idle speculation is going to distract from what we're trying to accomplish here. Thank you very much, and I think we're going to take questions. I apologize. The IED, the improvised explosive device, following the event, the vehicle that the 2 individuals arrived to the location in was searched by our state police professionals forensically. They did locate in that, amongst other items that I won't be discussing, a pipe bomb improvised explosive device. What I will say is it was examined. It's down at the FBI laboratory right now. It was a viable device, meaning it could be a device that would have exploded. It was, again, of a pipe bomb design, not complicated but sophisticated in the sense that time and effort went into creating it. That is, I'm sorry? At this time, we are not attributing any specific motivation to this. That's what we're investigating right now.
Has anyone in the law enforcement?
I guess we'll take a few questions.
Right. Has anyone in law enforcement contacted GoFundMe directly about the whole
So the U.S. Attorney has investigated fraudulent GoFundMe pages in the past and is experienced and expert in this. I'll defer to the U.S. Attorney's office.
You're going to be unsatisfied with the answer, but we're not going to get into investigative steps. But as I
I said, we're actively addressing the issue.
David?
Just general, the governor has mentioned, I believe you mentioned as well, that there is no credible threat that we are aware of right now as far as any additional security concerns. I was wondering if you could comment on that. Perhaps, Governor, you could as well. And Director Maples, obviously the Jewish community in New Jersey is concerned about this because there was an attack on a kosher supermarket. What, if anything, is your office doing and working to make security a front burner issue for these people?
So I'll take the lead on that. The governor mentioned it, and the director and I were at the Interfaith Advisory Council meeting this morning to speak with our faith communities across the state, to inform our faith communities that we are here as partners if there are concerns, particularly at this time of year as there's more religious gatherings and things of that nature, to reach out to us, to always report anything suspicious, as the governor mentioned, that if they are the victims of any type of bias or hate, to report that through the appropriate channels, and that we will follow up on any and all of those leads. And I think those are some of the steps we've taken, and we'll continue to have engagement with all faith communities across the state at this difficult time.
Just to clarify, when suspects got to the store, they immediately shot and killed, with the exception of the person who escaped, everyone inside. Was anyone still alive when police arrived to the scene?
So what I can say is what I said in my remarks, is that upon arriving at the scene, Anderson got out of the vehicle with the rifle and began shooting almost immediately, walking into the store. Now, one person escaped with a gunshot wound and is recovering fully. The three individuals who remained in the store, the wife of the owner, a worker, and a customer, are all now deceased. Now begins a difficult task for us to determine which bullets and to whom they're attributed, but our belief is that they were killed almost immediately upon the two suspects entering the location.
Where was that person shot, the one who managed
We're
to
not
escape?
going to give locations of gunshot wounds for any of the victims in this case. Autopsies are ongoing, investigations ongoing, and we're doing the ballistics works right now.
You said, excuse me,
We'll go right here.
you said that Anderson had a long gun. Was Graham armed as well?
So that's not a detail we're sharing at this point. We're just, the information we're sharing right now is what I provided. And as I mentioned, we'll be back here tomorrow at noon to provide additional information as the investigation proceeds.
General, you said that there was a call made about Detective Seals. Was he alone when he met with these suspects?
So the circumstances of the killing of Detective Seals is still under investigation as to when it transpired, how it specifically transpired, and that's an investigation that remains ongoing. And again, we will be back when we are able to share more information. We will share it.
General, was there a relationship between this incident and the killing that happened in Bayonne on the weekend?
I will say this, and that's an investigation that Prosecutor Suarez's office is running. The two suspects who are deceased in this case, the two decedents, Anderson and Graham, are our prime suspects in the Bayonne Uber driver killing.
Are you talking at all about the fact that there is this Black Israelites connection, or the fact that they posted, at least one of the suspects, posted anti-Semitic remarks online?
Again, the why and the ideologies and the motivations, that's what we're investigating, and we want to be thorough and we want to be accurate before we come back with more information.
Have you ever
In the back. Go ahead.
Have these individuals been investigated before? Do they have any type of criminal history?
We're not-
Are these residents of the state?
We're not going to comment on that.
Any idea how many shots were fired in total during the gunfight?
Nope. We processed the scene last night. It was a big scene, and that work now begins to assess which shell casings are attributable to which weapons and how many shell casings there are. And again, when we have more information to share, we will be back and we'll share that information.
Mayor de Blasio called this
Right here.
Mayor de Blasio called this an act of terror. You guys are not calling it an act of terror. Do you have any comment on his calling it an act of terror?
All I could tell you is what our investigation is showing, and that's why I think everyone who spoke this morning said that the information about the investigation should come from here, and Craig Erie and his folks at the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office, we're all looking into the ideology and the motivations, and we want to be accurate, we want to be thorough, and we want to be responsible when we come back with that information, and we will come back when we have an answer.
Tomorrow?
We'll take
You did mention hate, sir. You did mention hate, but you haven't spoken freely about the ideology. Is there a reason why this is classified as a hate crime?
No one said what it's being classified as at this point. What we have said is that we're investigating the motivations for the killings, which, again, the facts are they arrived at a location, they got out and immediately began shooting. As to what precipitated that investigation, that hard work, the interviews, the review of documentary evidence, digital evidence, and other evidence is ongoing, and there are dozens of interviews that are being conducted. So until we have complete information, it'd be irresponsible for us to tell you what the specific motivations were.
General, can I follow up on that, please?
We're good for today?
Brian, let's do you and then we'll wrap it up.
General, following up on what she said, the mayor of New York called it an act of terror, but has been shared with us an internal FBI memo that the SAC may be aware of, that it has been labeled as a hate crime. Is that an operating theory? Does the FBI just put that out there to warn people internally within the law enforcement community? Can you elaborate a little bit more on, or maybe the SAC can elaborate more on that?
I'm not going to speak to what's been put out there. What I could tell you, and I'm not going to speak to how they initiate and open investigations and what processes they might go through to do that. All I can tell you is that we're standing in front of you telling you that we are conducting additional investigation before we reach any conclusions as to what the motivations were, what the ideologies were at play here or weren't at play here. And I think to be responsible, to be thorough, we need to take those investigative steps together before we could characterize this one way or the other.
I think we're going to shut down. We're going to wrap. I want to thank Esther Suarez for hosting us. I want to reiterate what the Attorney General is. You're back here tomorrow at noon. And as they get more information, as we get more information, we'll share it with you. I also want to acknowledge Jersey City's own Senator Sandra Cunningham, who joined us, and Freeholder Stick Romano, I know, are here, among other elected officials. Thank you all very much.
We've been watching a press conference held by New Jersey Governor Murphy and New Jersey's Attorney General Gabriel Graywall talking about the update on the investigation of the Jersey City shootout that left a police detective, 3 civilians in a kosher grocery store, and 2 shooters dead. Mr. Graywall saying that the office is the lead investigative agency. They're looking into motivations. Also, it was just revealed that it's believed the 2 individuals, the shooters, are the people, David Anderson, age 47, Francine Graham, age 50. Those are the deceased shooters, that they were the prime suspects in the Bayonne car service killing on Saturday. A 34-year-old driver named Michael Rumberger from Jersey City was found dead in the trunk of a car. Also, we were given a timeline of the activities yesterday in Jersey City, and we were also given the names of those who died in the store. When the shooter, first David Anderson, carrying a long gun, went into the store, there were 4 civilians inside, 3 of them killed. 32-year-old Mindy Ferenz, Miguel Douglas, 49-year-old, and Moisha Deutsch, 24-year-old. A survivor escaped, no name given. We will continue to tell you more information about the investigation into the tragedy in Jersey City that also left Police Detective Joseph Seals dead yesterday. Stay with us on CBSN New York and, of course, on CBS 2 News at 5 and 6 o'clock. I'll see you at 6.